we're rolling. All right, welcome back. It's been a month, but here we are, episode 29 of the Long Toss here on the Walkoff. See if I can even remember how to do these intros. We got lots to talk about today. We got the Jays-Rangers series to get to. We got Bo Bichette seemingly carrying this team in September. We got a Ross Stripling predicament on our hands this offseason that we're going to get to. Quite a few playoff races that are getting pretty tight and fun to watch here through September that we'll address. Minor leaguers are joining the MLBPA. We'll get to that, as well as rule changes, thoughts, feelings, emotions. We'll get to all that stuff. Albert Pujols hit .697 today. My show notes said he hit .696, and then he just can't be stopped. So here we go. Fun fact,
nope.
I was telling my kid about Albert Pujols, and as soon as I uttered the name Albert Pujols, she laughed, covered her mouth, and said, like butthole? So there's that.
You're like, not quite.
I'm raising a great kid. Pujols. There you go. All right. Today's episode and every episode is brought to you by Team Oh My. Out hustle my yesterday. Big shout out to Duncan down there with Team Oh My out of Calgary, Alberta. Good Canadian apparel, athletic gear. Team Oh My. Out hustle my yesterday. Support Oh My Apparel at ohmy_apparel on Instagram, or visit teamohmy.com and get your gear in today. Walkoff is the code at checkout. Go. 14%. Nice. I'm on it, Scott. That was the last thing on my notes here. But thank you. We are good. Big shout out to our Patreon, patreon.com/the Walkoff Podcast. The numbers continue to grow. We appreciate all the support there. $1 a week. Thank you to David, Abraham, Michael, Sarah, John, Simon, Rashid, Joshua, Jeremy, Ian, Dunedin, Bob, John, Wyatt, and Patrick. Movie reviews, early access to interviews. Spoiler alert, we got John Gibbons coming on the show on Thursday. So get your comments and questions in there.
Tell him I say hello. Tell him I
Will
say hi.
Will do.
I miss him.
So John Gibbons has a new podcast coming out, and he's doing the tour to promote it. So he'll be on our show. He was on Blue Jays Fans UK, friend of the show there, earlier this week. Anyways, John Gibbons, that'll be up immediately on our Patreon, and then probably the following week, it'll go on YouTube for everybody else. We had 2 contests that we just wrapped up Friday. We were giving away this Jose Barrios jersey, which is going to be hitting the mailbox on probably Monday or Tuesday this week, as it's going out to John Dick, one of our Patreon supporters. So congratulations to John Dick in Kelowna, BC. Yeah, absolutely. And then the other package was some pretty sick baseball cards contributed by the one and only Garth here to my left, right? Anyways, Ian Elliott is the big winner of that baseball card package, and Ian is actually a big baseball card fan. So cool that someone who likes baseball cards won the baseball cards. It worked out good. Anything else, Scott? What did I miss?
No, you nailed it. That was a very smooth intro. I know I tried this about 1 month ago and just flubbed it in compared to what you just did. So well done.
All right, we nailed it. The only thing we're missing is I don't have a player for episode 29. It's episode 29 today. 28 was Buster Posey. I can't think of a 29 off the top of my head. Jimmy Rollins, I think, was the 29 of the Phillies. Is that correct? Correct me if I'm wrong. I think
he was 11.
Was he 11? All right,
yeah.
I'm already off. 29. Take your time and let me know a good number 29. It's one of those weird numbers. Okay, let's get to it. Scott, what's the score in the Jays game right now? Is that game wrapped yet?
The Jays officially lost 4-1.
Just ended. Okay. Well, Jays lost 4-1, but we took 2 out of 3 against the Rangers, correct?
Yes.
Jays are good again? Everything is hunky-dory in Blue Jay land?
Road trip, so that was good.
It was a good road trip. What did we take? 8 out of 10? 7 out of 9?
10-3. They're 10-3 in their last 13. Since that couple got caught having sex at Rogers Center, 10-3.
10-3.
Yeah.
They were doing like right on the mound. Because that's like,
Yeah.
We don't know what they were actually doing. It was alleged. They could have just been smooching.
Yeah.
All right. Yankees are still in free fall mode. The Yankees catchable. Scott, let's just start with you. Let's go with how you're feeling after this road trip, Rangers series in general. Are you feeling better about our playoff chances in this wild card race? Are the Yankees still catchable?
So I feel great right now. I mean, I think that it is beautiful to look at the standings and even after this loss, know that the New York Yankees are closer to the Blue Jays than the Orioles are to getting into the playoffs here. So there's a little bit of a cushion there. It's a little bit easier breathing. They've been playing really well. They've seemed to work around this Mitch White and Yusei Kikuchi snag that they had. I mean, even today, it was a bullpen day. I know it didn't go as well as everyone maybe wanted, but 4-1 on a bullpen day, that's not too bad, especially considering how much the umpire was squeezing. Like a guy like Trevor Richards relies so much on picking those corners, and so when he's being squeezed so much on both sides of the plate, that's kind of what did him in. I don't know. Going into Tampa Bay is going to be the real factor here, I guess, for this month. 5 games in a row against the Rays.
That starts tomorrow? No, day
Yes,
off.
sir. No, it
Tomorrow.
starts tomorrow and then
Tomorrow.
doubleheader.
2 tomorrow.
Is it doubleheader tomorrow? Yeah.
Isn't it tomorrow?
I believe it is.
Yes, it
If
is.
Let's have a look here. But yeah. Jen, how are you feeling about this team?
First of all, we could name this the Adrian Beltre episode if you
Yes,
wanted to.
nicely done.
There's also John Smoltz, if you like pitchers.
There's a few. Honestly, going into this road trip, I would not have predicted that they would have taken 8 and 10, to be completely honest. So I mean, I don't know because it's a small sample size, but if this is Bo for the remainder of the season, then all kinds of good things happened on this road trip, right? So that's, I would think Blue Jays fans would have to be feeling pretty confident with what they saw overall. Are the Yankees catchable? Yes, although I think they really beat up on the Rays. Am I correct today?
Last time I saw it was 10-3 in
Yeah.
So.
I do think the Yankees are catchable. I go back to what I've been saying for months now, which is that it would have been really great if the front office had gotten a legitimate starter as opposed to one Mr. Mitch White, who has now been optioned. Because if you consider, somebody posted on Twitter today that the international code for bullpen day is L. Right. And if you think about some of those losses because of Kikuchi or Mitch White or a bullpen day and what those would have translated into the standings right now, that part of it is unfortunate. But like I said, I really don't think that, Jays fans have anything really to complain about right now, which is new.
You nailed it there, Jen, because I did find myself watching Martin Perez today and being like, why is he in a Rangers uniform right now? This makes no sense.
Yeah, it's a hill I'm going to die on, right? Just this year. It's just, I got, okay. Yeah, but you get it.
Yes.
Rick, how are you feeling? Obviously, the Jays not your number one team here, but the Chicago White Sox probably not going to get a wild card spot. But how are you feeling about their chances to win that division and still make the playoffs?
I mean, the homer in me wants to say that they'll win, but they have the best or the weakest schedule coming up. So they're the most talented team in the Central, but that doesn't always correlate to winning that division. Right now they're getting beat 7-2, and I think Cleveland won. Correct me if I'm wrong. So Cleveland's probably going to get another game on them. And if they're going to do anything, they need to beat Cleveland. They have 4 remaining games, and they're 6-9 this season. So not only do they need to beat them, they need to take all 4 games to hold the tiebreaker. which will make it way more interesting. So I still think that Cleveland takes that division, in my opinion.
Do you think
White
Minnesota's
Sox.
right out of it, bud?
Yeah, I believe that
Yeah.
you're going to see them. I mean, with all the games coming up in the division, I think they're going to fall back. It's just going to be a 2-team race.
What do the Twins do with Carlos Correa? Or what is, I guess more importantly, what does Carlos Correa do with the Twins? Because he's got the player option for next year. Does he test free agency again?
He's gone.
I would.
I would
He's
have
having an
There's already
amazing
been
season.
there's already reports that he's gonna opt out. Like the shortstop market isn't what it was last year.
No.
Last year there was like 4 guys who were like legitimate all-star shortstops, all hitting free agency all at the same time.
All signing with the Rangers.
What do you guys think you do with Tim Anderson when he comes back? So Tim Anderson coming back, you have Elvis Andrews who's batting out of his mind. He's got the most runs, I believe, highest batting average, most. I think he's top 1 or 2 with the White Sox since August 19th. What do you do with Tim Anderson when he comes back? I mean, Andrews has better defense. Do you leave him out there, DH Anderson? Then you lose the spot for Abreu or Grandal. So where do you put him?
I could answer this the best because the White Sox are my second team, kind of. When Tim Anderson comes back, I think the best thing that you can do is slide one of them to second base because their second base situation right now is Romy Gonzalez, Larry Garcia, and Josh Harrison. So it's not great. And if you could somehow take Tim Anderson off of shortstop and just have him almost do what Bo Bichette should be doing defensively and play second, it'll take a lot off of his plate, and he could just end up hitting 350 for the rest of the season. And I think if they do that, the White Sox will be able to win that division. But if they can't, and you have to bench Elvis or DH Tim Anderson, you lose potentially Eloy Jimenez, who's been their hottest hitter. Andrew Vaughn doesn't get as many days off in the field, Gavin Sheets, etc. So yeah, they have to figure out a way to make Tim Anderson or Elvis Andrews play second base.
What does the White Sox need for catcher? Do they need an Alejandro Kirk on their team?
I mean, Grandal's an on-base machine, but that's pretty much it. He's not going to give you nothing higher than 200, unfortunately, when it comes to batting average, and he gives you the occasional pop. But, I mean, it's been a surprising season for Sebi Zavala. I mean, the guy just continues to get better, but he's not going to be a world beater. I don't think he's still going to be an everyday catcher. So I think they're pretty good at catcher. It's just you got to get some way for Grandal to get into the lineup. I mean, you're paying him way too much to not have him in the lineup. So like he said, you got to use him at DH whenever you can to give him a day off.
Man, Elvis Andrews always just has sneaky good seasons. Like, so underrated over the last, 8 years of baseball.
Before we get, because we're going to talk Bo Bichette and the rest of the shortstop stuff, but before we do, just because we're talking about log jams at DH, this is something that Scott and I kind of talked about on Friday, and I would just love to take the field's opinions on this. I know it's stupid, an idea, but the idea of, sometime in the not too distant future, maybe it's 10, 20 years from now, adding, additional DH spots. Is this ludicrous? How bad is this, or is this a great idea? Rick, let's start with you because you're the White Sox guy who's in the same predicament that the Blue Jays are with George Springer and Alejandro Kirk, and we don't have enough DH spots. Would that make baseball better, or does that go against everything baseball stands for?
You're really kind of answering my topic ahead of time that I have for later on. But are you saying you want to add another person to the lineup, or are you just saying having another roster spot for a DH?
I don't know the best way that it would work, but the idea is that Bradley Zimmer can play center field and doesn't have to hit the same way a pitcher doesn't have to hit. So you still have, 9 spots in the lineup, but you could have an extra DH for one of your weakest hitting defenders.
I mean, I don't think that's a bad idea. I mean, baseball's going in the way of offense. They want to see offense to boost attendance and revenue. So I don't think it's a general bad idea. I mean, we've seen them make changes before and then pull back on them, or, make additional changes. So I really believe it's not a crazy idea, in my opinion.
I mean, I think there's more teams than not that find themselves with these roster management situations. I mean, the Yankees have got 4 DHs on their team that they've got to stick in the outfield or figure out where to go.
That's
you look
what
at the
bothers
Angels
me about
there.
it, though.
No, I know that it's advantage Yankees, right? But I mean, look at the Angels too with Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani, right? Like, I don't know, the way workload management is going and the way like player health and safety, and now we've got the rebalanced schedule next year, so there's going to be more travel and wow. Like, I don't know. It's just we gave the universal DH this year, right? Because everybody agreed we don't really want to see Marcus Stroman hitting. It's not that entertaining, right? So
Marcus Stroman does, though.
Sure, of course he says that. But I mean, how far of a stretch is it to say, well, do we really want to see Bradley Zimmer hitting?
I'd rather see front offices build a better roster.
Thank you.
Exactly.
Yes.
Like, if Bradley Zimmer can't hit, don't fucking sign him.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care how, like, you know, like if you can't be a competent baseball player on both sides of the ball, and I'm not saying you have to be Gold Glove and Silver Slugger. If you can't be competent enough to be on the field, don't be on the field.
Or just be a late inning replacement.
There's also just not. I would argue there's not enough guys to go around, though.
Well, they're going to expand 2 more teams soon, so that's only going to get better.
That's a great point, too, right? Like, I don't know. I mean, with PitchCom and Robo Strike Zone, like, the catching position is going to become that way, too, I think, where you're going to have a guy who is just a meathead behind the plate, doesn't need to call a game, but boy, can he swing a big bat.
Honestly, the logic of it is there. I see what you're saying.
I hate the idea.
When I hear it, I hate it.
Yeah, agreed. All right. Well, that was a fun talk. All right.
That's your topic for the day.
There you go. That's my topic for the day, Rick. I hope you got another one. Let's talk Bo Bichette then. Carrying this team offensively through September. I don't have his numbers pulled up in front of me, but it's something like batting 500 and an OPS well into the 4 digits.
I've got them here if you want to hear.
Yeah, me too.
So in September, he is hitting .525 with 6 home runs, 18 RBI, 13 extra base hits, and an OPS of 1,700 plus. Like,
all right, so
insane.
I exaggerated and undersold, but yeah. He's playing pretty well through the first 11 games of September. If memory serves, he also played pretty well last September. This is good. He's getting hot at the right time.
You could call that big game player, right?
Big game player. How much can Bo go to erase the memory of a bad season with a good September and October potentially? Connor, let's start with you and let's get your thoughts on Bo, his season in general, and what he's done for us lately.
On my podcast, I have had to put my foot in my mouth when it comes to Bo Bichette because I was with Garth. I thought he wasn't that great, and then he decides to do this to me. And then when you look at his stats now, like we may have seen a bad year, but he's 4th in OPS in the league in shortstops, and like 2nd in the league in home runs. So it's crazy what he's doing, and I think we realistically can't expect this to go for another 3 weeks. But if he can just get back to about half or 80% of 2021 Bo Bichette, I think we'll be in a much better position, especially with how Vladdy's doing lately. Like, he's been the 3-hitter and solidified. He leads the team in RBIs now, which is even crazier.
True.
Like, it's just his run is ridiculous. He went up in the double between the start of the doubleheader in Baltimore and after his F4 went from 2.5 to 3.1. That's how valuable he's been for this team. And yeah, if he could keep it up, great. But I'm not going to expect him to hit a 1,700 OPS for the entire month. So just ride it while we can.
Garth, how are you feeling about Bo?
I mean, we've seen him go through like mini stretches like this, 10, 12 game stretches. Like remember when he got called up and he was like hitting a double every time he swung the bat? Like, we've seen this. And I don't know. Recency bias is crazy. Mm-hmm. Like, everyone's just like, oh, Bo's amazing. And but we've just seen 5 months of him play mediocre baseball. So to have 10 games, hey, I love it. Hey, he's carrying the team. Amazing. But that small sample size doesn't erase like the shitty defense, the swing and miss, the inopportune strikeouts. I mean, I wish he could find a happy medium between dog shit and Barry Bonds, but I mean, I'll take it. I mean, he's carrying this team into the playoffs, but I mean, I'm not completely sold. I've seen him go on stretches like this, and I hope it continues, but I don't know. I'm sure by the end of the season, he's going to have great numbers and he's going to be a top 5 shortstop, and everybody will think that I'm crazy for doubting him, but I don't know. I'm not quite back on the Bo bandwagon yet.
See, like Garth, I don't even take it as you're doubting him. It's just
no,
it's
I'm
160.
Not. I think he could be a really good, serviceable baseball player, but having like an otherworldly stretch of a dozen games that completely changes your season, it doesn't erase the rest of the season where you weren't a good ball player. You know, like everybody said, well, it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. And I get that. But like for the vast majority of the marathon, he hasn't been the same Bo Bichette that we saw last year. But like I said, I'm really glad that he's hitting well. Like he's, you know, I saw him smile the other day, which I haven't seen in months. Like literally, he looked like, you know, he was having a horrible time in the bullpen or in the dugout. Yeah. Like now he looks like he might actually enjoy playing baseball. So
numbers can be deceiving too. I mean, look at his. I mean, this is his second full season. You know, 162 game season. Keep that in mind. And I mean, entering today, let's compare him to another good shortstop. Let's go Xander Bogaerts. I mean, he entering today, Bichette has more home runs, RBIs, stolen bases, and total bases, and they have around the same number of runs, one less hit. He has one more double, and they're separated by a point in slugging percentage. The big difference between them is WAR. I mean, that's where you're talking about defense, but I think Adam and I have talked about the defense when comparing Bichette and Anderson, and those guys are getting errors that guys aren't even getting to due to athleticism. So, I mean, like I said, numbers can be deceiving. I mean, look at those. I mean, comparing them, it looks good, but I'm from the outside looking in. You're watching the Blue Jays more often. You're seeing it every day where I'm just looking at the numbers. You know what I mean? That's why those can be so deceiving in the end. To me, it looks like he's good. You know what I mean? Looks like it's a good 162 game season, but I'm not seeing the strikeouts and clutch situations and those type of things that you're seeing every day.
The thing with Bichette, we've talked about this before, is that when it comes to his defense, what's so frustrating, it isn't the mind-blowing plays. Like, my goodness, it was I forget the exact game now, but I think it was about a week ago where he made a play running into right field, spun, and still, even though Vladdy had to make a heck of a stretch to make the play, like, it was incredible. But what drives me nuts with Bichette is watching him make a everyday play and then sail it over Vlad's head, right? Like as soon as he's got too much time to think. Yeah, exactly, man. Yes.
You know, like he can make these amazing defensive plays, but then like a routine throw, he just fucking airmails it. And like that is the part of his game that just infuriates me. Like just, you know, fundamentals. If you can get that shit locked down, you could be a great player.
Jen, how are you feeling about Bo?
I lean towards what Garth is saying, and that's not to crap all over Bo Bichette, but we haven't seen, you know, what was expected of him this season. And what I question is, so with this hot stretch that he's on, you know, the coaching staff has said that they attribute it to him taking a more aggressive approach during batting practice. Recently, he's taking live batting practice, live at bats in the cage where they're giving him different counts. And so he's changing his approach in during practice, right? And my question is, why did you not try that back in June? Right? Like, why? And apparently it's something he's done in the past that has worked for him. So I just don't understand how he went through April and May and June and July and August underperforming by his own standards. And it took until September for him to, go back to an approach that has worked for him in the past. And again, I'm not saying that I'm sure he will not, have an OPS over 1700 for all of September, but the difference in what we were seeing versus what we've seen the past couple of weeks is astronomical. And I just don't understand why he wouldn't have changed his approach sooner than this. Right.
By the way, I just wish to really.
Staff?
Pardon me?
Is that a failure on the coaching staff for not trying that earlier, or are you blaming Bichette?
Well, I have no idea because I don't know what the coaching staff has suggested to him. So I have no idea.
Well,
sorry, I did want to just really quickly say, just because I know there's some comments in YouTube here and stuff like that, but Bichette has been amazing. No one here is shitting on him. No. He has literally put this games. He has put the team on his shoulders in the month of September, the most important month of the whole season. But when you look at the whole picture, is all everyone's saying. Anyways,
go ahead, for Bo Bichette, the Jays might have lost their playoff spot to Baltimore, right? When playing Baltimore. So, no one here is suggesting that he's a terrible player or this or that, but it's just it was not a good season for him. It really hasn't been. And he would tell you that by his own standards, this is not what he expects out of himself. And so, like I said, this is a really, really small sample size, but I think it's fantastic that he's gone back to something that has worked for him in the past. He's obviously gotten hot at the right time. Hopefully that can carry through and then translate over into next year off the hop. Here's what I need to do.
I think it speaks volumes to his potential, too, that we can all sit here with the numbers that are in front of us that Bo Bichette has put up in 2022 and go, this is disappointing, and know that he feels the same way, right? He is a 24-year-old ball player who is only in his second full season. So, we're not giving up on him. It's just there's more there. There's more in the tank. And just watching what he's doing right now and the fact that he can find it and get this hot is pretty darn encourage.
Well, he's really increasing that off-season trade value.
I knew it would get to this. Say that.
Oh, man. Bo Bichette, getting hot at the right time. This is the whole point of having 9 sluggers in your lineup, right? Is that you're just hoping that you've always got one guy hot enough to carry the team, right? Whether it's Teoscar, whether it's Vladdy for a stretch or Springer for a stretch. It's Bo's turn, and he's doing it, right? So that is the idea. Blue Jays are hot right now. Before we move on from this too far, we can get back to this. We'll get back to the playoff races in a second. That's where I was going to go. But let's talk Ross Stripling and what we do with him this offseason. We traded for Mitch White from the Dodgers, who was supposed to be the Ross Stripling role, right? That long man, can start, can relieve. The first 4 outings for Mitch White looked great. The next 4 did not look so good. So we don't have to spend too much time on Mitch White and Yusei Kikuchi. Let's keep this lighthearted today. But Ross Stripling, what does this team do with Ross Stripling this offseason? Connor, let's start with you because I can already see the wheel turning in your brain. So let's start with you on Ross Stripling. What do you think?
If they don't give him a qualifying offer at the minimum, I will be furious.
Thank you. Qualify him. Absolutely.
Because I don't have the stat off the top of my head, but since he went back into the rotation for the second time this year, he has a top 4 ERA behind Verlander and Dylan Cease. He's been amazing. He's been
and has walked less than both those guys.
Yes. Like,
Well,
and he's
Dylan Cease walks the world, but that's
Dylan Cease leads the league
Yeah,
in
that's
walks.
true.
So
Yeah.
it's like, but in Stripling's case, he's doing what we wanted Hyunjin Ryu to do this year, which is kind of funny because he took Ryu's spot in the rotation. He needs to get like, we didn't do it with Steven Matz, but if he needs to get the qualifying offer, and then if that doesn't work necessarily, you have to get him back. Like, he's invaluable. At least 3 years, I'd say. I'd go as far as 50. 3 years, 50 million.
No fucking chance. Excuse my language. Sorry.
I don't know, buddy. I know Garth and I were talking about this on Twitter, and like Garth floated 345, and
like he's
okay. If he is a 3 or 4 starter in your rotation, those guys are making $15 million a season.
What's Kikuchi making?
Okay, but yeah, then let's shut the hell up about Yusei Kikuchi and the bad money we threw at him.
But I mean, like, even bottom end rotation guys, like a 5 or a 6 starter, are making $10 million a season. So you're telling me like Stripling after this season isn't worth 15 a year?
I don't think he gets it. I did a little bit of research on 4th and 5th starters, kind of alluding to this conversation, and most of the ones I seen were $4 or $5 or $6 million a year. You're talking about like your Dylan Bundys, your Rich Hills. Those are your 4th and 5th starters.
Yeah, but I mean, a 5th starter on a really good team.
Yeah, I mean, that makes a difference. But it depends on what the team who signs.
A 5th starter in Baltimore isn't going to be making what a 5th starter in the Dodgers is going to be making.
True.
You know, there's a lot of wiggle room there. But I mean, I see Stripling as he's a solid 3. Like, any team in the league would love to have him as their 3 starter.
He's also going to be 33 years old next year, for what it's worth. He is approaching.
Verlander's going to be, 50 next year? Like,
okay, Ross Stripling is not Verlander. I'm not even going to entertain. I know you're just being silly, but I'm not even going to entertain that.
Pitchers find themselves when they're like, it takes pitchers, sometimes it takes them a little bit longer. Like, look at Gosman.
Okay, he's going to be in his 8th season next year as a 33-year-old who's never pitched more than 120 innings.
I don't know.
To give that guy $50 million seems crazy. I don't think he'll get it. I don't think we have to. Would I qualify him? Would I throw whatever the $18 million one season?
Yeah.
Sure. And then I'd say, let's strut him out there as a starting pitcher all year. Let's say, hey, here's your chance to pitch 180 plus innings. And if I'm Ross Stripling, I would take that. I don't think anybody's going to give him that kind of money to be a starter when he's never done it and he's this far into his career.
I think he gets 6 or 7, in my opinion.
6 or 7 years?
6 or 7 million.
Oh, yeah.
Year.
Okay, yeah.
Because you're looking at middle. That's about average.
What was he making this year?
He's 3.97.
Man, bargain.
Mm-hmm. And he's got a much better ERA as a starter. I mean, he has a sub ERA as a starter this season. He's got a 2.91, and he's got a 4.09 ERA as a reliever. Keep in mind, he's only thrown 11 innings as a reliever this season, so there's little room for error. But a sub-3 ERA as a starter, I'd gladly take on the White Sox. So
you have Johnny Cueto. You have the old man
who got shelled today for 7 runs against the A's. But that's again another.
Yeah, I think.
I don't know. I think he gets 3 years, $36 million. I think he's going to get a pretty darn decent payout. I think there's lots of reason for teams to be into risking it on Ross Stripling. Number one, he's never been a power pitcher.
Hold on, Scott. You're countering my criticism of him getting 3 years, $50 million with you'll think he'll get 3 and 36. If 336 is the thing, I don't think that's necessarily crazy, but 3 for 50.
He might even get more. I think that's the range. I think the 35 to 50 mil over 3 years is the range he's going to be in.
I think if anything, you front load it like they did with Kikuchi. You put a majority of the money in the first year, and then you can in the last 2 you can kind of just give them 8 to 10 million a year after that.
I'm not even talking just Blue Jays here. There's going to be someone out there that gives him 3 years,
There's a team desperate enough.
50 mil.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be surprised if the Orioles made a call.
This is the thing, is that you need pitching depth. Every team needs pitching depth, right? Like the Blue Jays have barely scraped by with their starting pitching depth in at points during this season, right? So Ross Stripling, I mean, he's been the savior of the Jays season. Let's be honest, right? Where would they be without him right now? They wouldn't be in a playoff position, I don't think. with
strutting out Casey Lawrence every fifth day.
Thomas Hatch.
Absolutely, yeah.
well, that's just it, right? I mean, yes, he turns 33 in November. Some guys find it later in their career. I don't really.
And he's not a power guy.
He's not a power guy, and so. He's definitely, you offer him the qualifying offer because he's definitely going to test free agency, because why wouldn't he? Right. Mm-hmm. This will be his one shot at seeing, what a team will give him. Right. So you give him the qualifying offer, you make him a multi-year offer, and you see where it lands. Someone's phone is ringing.
I know. It sounds like I'm in Zellers all of a sudden.
Okay, I got all of a sudden. I was like, "Is that me?"
Oh, it's me. Hold on.
Garth has a landline that's ringing.
Of course he does.
Someone needs support in menswear.
Your next sponsor is going to be his land.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there's a team desperate enough to give him money. So, the example, the Texas Rangers. You're telling me the Texas Rangers wouldn't give Ross Stripling 3 years, $45 million?
Baltimore Orioles.
To go home to Texas.
To go his home state of Texas that he liked to bring up the past few days.
Where there's no tax.
Right. Sure. I just think there's also other guys that you could also, if you're going to just throw $50 million at, there's also if 20 other names on that list that I'd probably rather throw a buttload of money at than Ross Stripling. I'm happy with what he's done. It's like the Ross Stripling thing is like Bo Bichette. Like, we're getting great bargain on it.
Have you seen the list of free agent pitchers this upcoming season?
Yeah.
There's a bunch that are going to get 100 plus.
It's not great.
There's a couple that are going to get 100 plus, I think.
Well, let's have a look. You guys talk, and I'll bring up a list here.
I know Verlander is one. I know Carlos Rodon, who's having a tremendous year in San Francisco and didn't get traded somehow. He'll get at least, I'd say 80 to 100 million.
Connor, do you think that Verlander will try and pull off the Scherzer and just be like, pay me 1 year, $45 million. I go to the highest bidder?
Maybe. It really depends, because I think if Houston gives him a contract, he'll go back to Houston. And I think when it comes to the Scherzer thing, there's only a few teams that could really do what the Mets did. And that's Yankees, Dodgers, Blue Jays, maybe, I don't know, wishful thinking, Mets. But he's pitching so well that I think he can just, I think he has an option for next year, so he can just go back to Houston if he wants. So,
but an extra $20 million on what he's being paid, like he really could make that push.
Yes.
So if you think he's going to make $15 million, just to go back to that one more time, you're saying he's going to make close to what Iglesias makes from the Angels, Hendricks and Chapman make per year, average annual income. They're all in the $15 million range. So you're saying he's going to get that type of money.
I don't know. The pitching class that's coming up in free agency is not strong.
And let me read a list of names. This is we'll just throw this out here, okay? So anybody listening who maybe not familiar with the free agent pitching class, I'm going to run down the list of names. This is not the exhaustive list, but we got David Price, Chris Sale, Jacob deGrom, Justin Verlander, Carlos Rodon, Noah Syndergaard, Charlie Morton, Adam Wainwright, Nathan Eovaldi, Kershaw, Greinke, Aaron Nola, Sonny Gray, Luis Severino, Sean Manaea, Kyle Gibson, Chris Bassett, Andrew Heaney, Corey Kluber, Jake Odorizzi, Taijuan Walker, Michael Wacha, Mike Clevenger.
Actually, that's deeper than I thought.
Yeah, Johnny Cueto, Martin Perez.
A lot of these guys do have club and player options.
And a lot of those guys aren't going anywhere. Like Kershaw, don't even put him on there. DeGrom,
okay, but there's still names that you have to mention, because that's a team that is in the free or the pitching market who says, I don't want Ross Stripling, I've got Clayton Kershaw. So we still have to include them in the relevant list. True. I think.
Yeah, I get that, but I mean, like, those guys are free agency in name only. Like, they're either going to retire or they're going to, like Adam Wainwright. Like, he's not going anywhere.
I know Jacob deGrom's not going anywhere either, but
no, exactly.
That's still a pitching spot that the New York Mets are one less starting pitcher interested in Ross Stripling. I think it's still
Chris Bassett is interesting.
Yeah.
I really wanted the Jays to get Bassett last offseason. Like, I thought he would have been man, he would have been perfect for this team. But whatever.
All right. Well, any
all their
last
money on
thoughts?
Kikuchi.
Any last thoughts on Ross Stripling before we pivot away from the Jays specifically and look at the playoff races?
I don't know what he gets offered. I don't think it's $15 million a year necessarily, but you look at a team like the Jays, and they're going to have two starting spots in the rotation to fill next year because they still have to fill Ryu, right? And the whole Kikuchi
And
Mitch
zero,
White.
buddy. Like, nobody's pushing up
And
from
there's
AAA.
no, there isn't.
We have Nate
So
Pearson.
you
What are
actually
we
could add
talking about?
right?
Unless Ricky Tiedemann does the thing and just comes up in mid
But
April, like
even if Tiedemann does the thing, like
there's no guarantee.
this year has proven a team needs like 7 starters.
Yeah.
We don't need 5.
Right.
If you
So
go through your
even
season with
if
5
you signed Stripling to go back to the long man out of the bullpen / starter role, like whatever, like there are things that teams could do with him that make him a very high value because he can perform both roles, and he's proven that this season, right? So I do think there's more value there than people might imagine. And based on the Blue Jays' needs, he's particularly valuable to them.
I just want to, and you guys can argue with me if you like, but when Jen says there is value there in that flexibility, I agree that there is value there, but I disagree that there is like financial contract equivalency in value, because there is value in stolen bases. There is no money in stolen bases.
I'm not talking dollar value. I'm simply talking in terms of teams being interested.
Sure.
Which then
I don't think that translates into. I think there's lots of guys that are interested, or lots of teams that are interested in a guy who can steal 30 bases. I don't think that guy gets a big payday. I think a guy who could play a lot of positions, gets a lot of interest, does not get a big payday.
But I'm not talking about a big payday. I'm just talking about the number.
That was the whole topic of the
suitors.
conversation, though, was that we're talking about how much money he's going to get.
Who?
Ross Stripling, Scott.
Oh, well, what? Russ Stripling
Everybody's so
steals
flustered.
no bases. That's where you lost me. I'm like, stealing bases.
But this is the
you're
thing.
talking
There's
about
value in
Jared
Ross
Stoltenberg.
Stripling that has flexibility as a guy who can do
Yes.
the versatility, right?
Right.
just
I'm
saying,
not
there is
talking
interest.
monetary value, though. I'm talking about in terms of the number of suitors for him. That's what I'm talking about.
And he's talking about
I agree with you
needs-
there.
The needs of teams.
I just think there can be a lot of teams that are interested, but not interested in giving him $50 million over 3 years. And I'm not to disagree with you specifically, Jen. I just...
No, but I also started that by saying I didn't think he'd get 15 mil a year. So
Yeah. Okay. So then we're all on the same fucking page. Perfect. Let's just move on and talk playoff race, shall we?
I think he is
Money.
going to get $15 million a
He'll
year.
get
I
money
think for
somewhere.
sure he is.
I think I'm interested to see how this plays out.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Rule change time?
yeah, sure. Why
Not
not? We can do rule
Alright.
changes. Let's do that. Rule changes.
Finally, baseball is fixed.
Yeah, it's fixed. All right, Scott, rule changes. Your topic. Go ahead. Not your topic, but rule changes.
Well, they just 2023, the shift is banned, which drives me nuts. Mostly because I don't like Joey Gallo, and I'm like, great, now Gallo's a good player again.
He'll get
Damn.
paid.
But there's lots to like about that too. I was just going to say, right? That's big for Kevin Biggio, who the shift has been affecting him the most of every player on this Blue Jays team. So that's something. And then they're going to go to bigger bases. So instead of 15 inches, they're going to be 18 inches. And then the last one was
pitch
Like-
clock.
Pitch clock.
right, pitch clock, which is a big one. And that's what, 15 seconds between pitches, 20 when someone's on base?
Correct.
Right. Which is really interesting. And I know that like this whole panel kind of varies between old school and new school way of viewing things. But I am really curious on each of your thought on how this will affect the game, right? Because that's what we need to wait and see will happen, right? Is how will this actually change baseball? Jen, when you heard these rule changes, what was your first your first feelings on it?
I like the shift, to be honest, just because I like to see how teams get creative against other teams, right? And I like the idea of a batter then having to change their approach to try to beat the shift. It's like a little game of chess within the game, and I personally kind of like it. But if you take a look at like the numbers across the league, will it really improve offense? If you look at the list of players that are shifted the most, they're all left-handed batters, right? By far. You look at somebody like Vlad. Vlad has only been shifted in 8.4% of his plate appearances this year. Bo Bichette has been shifted once. He's in the entire season.
Yeah.
Once.
Okay.
Okay. So for a lot of players, they're not being shifted as much as people might think they're being shifted, in which case, does it really change their offensive numbers? For those left-handed batters that are being shifted in like 98% of their plate appearances, yes, absolutely. But I think for the majority of the league, it's not going to have that big of an impact. The bigger impact is now needing infielders who are really good at their position.
All I heard there was Bo Bichette the second.
100%.
Yes. Well, that's the what I'm implying. Absolutely.
I'm almost curious to see how this will affect Bo Bichette, because he is a guy that does have a ton of range, and when he's on the move, he does make the play, and this might actually force him into not getting in his head as much. I could be out to lunch too, and he should just be playing second base, but he was like one guy that as soon as I heard about this, I was like, I wonder how Bichette will react to needing to go deeper into the field to make some of these plays, and if it will actually benefit him, or even a Tim Anderson, right, with your Sox, right? Like just a guy that as soon as range is involved is exceptional.
The only reason I didn't like the shift, I mean, baseball teams should be able to do whatever they want to do. I mean, it's part of the game, as Jen said. If they want to do it, it's a strategic strategy implemented by the manager. Like, there's should be nothing illegal about it. I get what they're trying to do. The only thing I have against the shift is it promotes the 3 outcome for the hitter, which is your home run, your strikeout, or your walk. So, I mean, I want to see more action as a baseball fan. So I want to see stolen bases, hit and run, but that's something way more different than the shift. You know what I mean? Banning the shift isn't going to fix that, to Jen's point, because there's just not enough, like, it's just left-handed hitters, like she stated. I mean, it's not going to completely fix it.
And I read an article that said whether a team is in the shift or not in the shift, the ratio of outs to hits is 2-1. Basically.
Wow.
And another small thing that I've read, I may be wrong here, but the rule on the shift in the infield, at least, is you have to have 2 people on each side of the base and has to be left on the rest. So technically, you could still, like, for example, Bo Bichette could still be basically behind the bag and on the infield. So that's still basically shifted and taking away up the middle. So does it really change much in that case anyway? But I know they also got rid of 4 outfielders, which I don't really. I guess you can get rid of that.
What I saw
think
with
what they're trying to do. Yeah, sorry, Adam, go ahead.
Sorry, what I saw with the proposal for the shift and it's like a pie shape behind second base. So like imagine the first to second baseline gets extended into like towards the outfield, and same with third to second, and like that would be a no-go zone.
And
I think the big thing they're trying to do is they're trying to avoid teams being able to clump 3 infielders on one side or the other, right? So
you have to stay on the dirt before the pitch is thrown, not after. So as soon as it's thrown, you can go back, but you have to start on the dirt.
It's like when the Jays shift guys and Bo's behind second base on the first base side of the line or whatever, and then Santiago Espinal is way off in right field, shallow right field, right? And
is this going to lead to something where, like Rick was just saying, after the pitch is thrown, you can move wherever the heck you want? Are we going to have a situation where it's like we're challenging, did he tag up on the sack fly? Is it going to be like, oh, he took off and he started shifting before the ball left his hand? Because like it's going to be, if that's what they want to do, right? I imagine guys are going to be pushing it. And if that's what they want, where, okay, technically we're here. Okay, ball left his hand and now we go. It might be a sticky predicament where we're like, hey, this shortstop, he took off and the pitch hadn't left the hand yet. Like, that's an exhausting replay that I can't imagine sitting through, of like challenging a routine out to first base because the second baseman went deep too early. Ugh.
And what's the result? Like what they find out he left early? Is it an out? Like what happens?
Yeah, but Adam, think about all the time they're going to save on pitch clock that they can now use to challenge
an early shift. Oh, phenomenal. This is great. This is
give and take.
Great. Yeah.
I think the biggest rule change that like everyone seems to think the base size isn't that big a deal.
I love you bringing this up, buddy. Yeah.
But that, when you add it to you're only allowed 2 pickoff moves, and the third one, if you don't get them, it's a balk. Man, like how many stolen base attempts? Because what are they? Well, they're 15 inches now. They're going to 17 inches. Is
18 inches now.
Okay, how many stolen base close plays at second are within 6 inches? Like that's
all
6 inches.
Pretty much all of them.
For a point of clarification, hold on. For a point of clarification, because 18 inches adds 3 inches on the inside of first and third, right?
Well,
but does anybody know where the second base is getting bigger? Is it from the center out? Is it from the inside corner or the outside corner?
It'll be like 18 by 18.
Right. But what I'm saying is if the base is here, right? Is it just getting bigger or is it getting bigger?
He's talking about wider,
are we shortening the entire base path by 6 inches, or is it going to be a bigger base but they're still the same distance away?
No, it's not the same distance away. Where did I read it? The distance between bases is being reduced by 4.5 inches.
Okay.
4.5 inches. Okay. Thanks.
So it is a center.
Yeah. So
center
with
out.
that, there's so many close calls at second. And if you're going to give them an extra 4.5 inches, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it is when you look at every stolen base. Plus, if you're not really allowed to keep a guy on the base, throw over 3-4 times, man, teams better be loading up on speedsters.
As soon as I heard these rule changes, the bases, Garth, as soon as I heard that, my first thought, especially with the pickoff attempts, my first thought was the Tampa Bay Rays are going to find a way to win another 5 games a year for sure. That's like a rule that is just a Tampa Bay Ray rule.
Seeing guys with 70 stolen bases again.
My first thought.
Will anybody pay them for that though?
Adam, answer that question.
Depends on their innings pitched. I mean, if Shohei Ohtani is stealing 40, they'll pay him for it.
My first thought when I heard about the bases was, thank goodness the Blue Jays now have one of the best stolen base people in the league now in Whit Merrifield.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Kevin Biggio.
No, I mean
Kevin Biggio is going to steal 40 next year for sure.
Yeah, but
including the box. Oh yeah,
you can't steal first. Doesn't he have to get on base?
This is very true. He does have to get to first.
Yeah, and he.
Why do I feel like they're limiting everything pitchers can do and just nothing with hitters? They're like, oh, you can't. How many mound visits? How many times you got to deliver by this?
Hey, OPS. Hold on.
Attack can you use? Yeah.
Time out. Just in defense of Kevin Biggio, OPS leaders on the Blue Jays since August 1st. Kevin Biggio is in second right now. Since August 1st. Bo Bichette, 990. Kevin Biggio, 855. George Springer, 785. So, and then you add the shift. Kevin Biggio, MVP votes next year.
I think so.
And you were telling me I was crazy about $15 million a season for.
I'm exaggerating. All right.
Yeah,
look, I think all these rule changes though add value to Kevin Biggio.
Yeah, they're his dream. Robo-umps, he has a great
Robo-umps. We're not shifting anymore, and we're gonna make stealing a little bit easier.
We're not
for
shifting
him.
on me 83% of the time since he's been in the league.
We're pretty much talking about my topic right now, so I'm just going to throw my topic out there. It makes so much sense. But, literally, you guys all touched on it. But with Biggio being the one who was affected the most on the Jays for the shifting rule, the fact that he has the best eye on the team, and they are for sure, especially after these rule changes went forward, there's no way robo-umps aren't a thing in 2024, especially with how prevalent betting has become everywhere across the baseball landscape. And Kevin Biggio, so this is a little stat I saw that I just love because I love to throw fire on any frustration from the Yankees. But Giancarlo Stanton, yeah, he has a weighted runs created plus of 111, whereas Biggio's currently is sitting at 116. So does anyone, he's 27 years old right now. He's going to be 29, prime of his career in 2024. Do you think it's possible that Kevin Biggio is a legit superstar in 2024 when all of the I listen, I'm just throwing it out there. I'm not trying to be ridiculous. Like, if you just start taking away all the places where he's weak, which is what baseball is doing with all these rule changes.
The Kevin Biggio rule.
Do I think Kevin Biggio gets more MVP votes than Russ Stripling gets Cy Young votes? Yes.
Maybe he'll get $15 million a year.
I jokingly said that Kevin Biggio could win a batting title, but he's not going to be a superstar.
Superstar is a little strong, I think.
Yeah,
superstar is very strong, but
he could be an all-star.
If you said
he could be an all-star for sure. He could.
If his ceiling is 2-hole, everyday 2-hole hitter in front of Vlad, Bo, whoever. Man, I just hope he stays good. Just stay good. I just want you to be around still, Kevin. Big fan. Clearly.
Well, he was good his first 2 years with the Jays. Last year he was not good. He was also injured a bunch. This year he did not start good. He did spend time on the IL for whatever that's worth. How much you want to read into that, how much slack you want to give him, that's up to you. Since he's been back, he's been a very competent contributor to this team. All of that, to Scott's point, all of these rules are literally if you could adjust the sliders on your thing to be how can we make Kevin Biggio perform better? All 3 for 3. These are all improvements for him, right? Yeah, I don't know. I was right off the bandwagon for Kevin Biggio at the start of the year. I'm more
Jen talked you off.
I'm more on the Kevin Biggio bandwagon than I am on the Bo Bichette bandwagon at this point. Plus, he's going to cost pennies compared to Bo Bichette. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think Biggio wins MVP votes, but yeah, I could see him being an all-star for sure. Why not? Well, this is great listening. Great listening.
Well, hey, you got to have some ebbs and flows to things, right?
That home run was a rally killer. We are at the 1 hour mark, though, so we could just go right into topics since Scott started with one. But before we do, I just want to touch on this quickly. Albert Pujols hit 697 today. Pretty phenomenal what he's doing. Scott and I also had this talk on Friday. Aaron Judge is at 55 home runs unless he hit one today that I didn't see. And Albert Pujols, as of Friday, was at 695. So we had a debate between the two of us. What's more likely, Pujols gets to 700 or Aaron Judge gets to 60? And I said more likely that Pujols gets to 700. He's already at 697, but let's just take all that. I still think, man, I'm so articulate right now. Scott, can you just take over? I need a minute to breathe.
Okay, well, I don't know. Does anyone have something to jump in here about Albert Pujols?
I tweeted earlier today that he's not going for 700. He's going for Bonds.
Yeah.
He is this is just an unbelievable stretch of baseball for a 42-year-old guy who looked washed up 7 years ago. It's awesome for baseball. It's awesome for St. Louis. I'm so happy he went back there to finish off his career. This is everyone. Well, how can you not be romantic about baseball? This is why.
Mm-hmm.
Just a great story.
I don't think he'd be doing this anywhere else. Like,
No.
I think it's like there was something about reuniting with Yadi and Waino and just like the Cardinal way, you know?
And him hitting 700 is way more exciting than Aaron Judge hitting 60.
Oh,
like way more exciting. Like it's night and day.
And a big thing about all these home runs is they're not just home runs and blowout games. He's like winning games for them with these home runs. Yeah. Like today, I think today it was the top of the ninth, and he had a 2-run home run to give them the lead over the Pirates. Granted, it's the Pirates, but it's still a go-ahead home run. And also, I'm just happy he's ahead of A-Rod now.
Yes.
Like, I could care less if he gets to 700. I'm just happy you're ahead of A-Rod. Like,
then why do you think it's more exciting for Pujols than Judge?
Because he's a Yankee.
Yeah.
No, it's not even that. I really, really am a fan of Aaron Judge. I think he is a phenomenal player and person from everything that I know.
He'll look great in a Rangers jersey.
All offense, no pitching.
I've got nothing negative to say about him. Not even the fact that he plays with the Yankees. Like I really don't. I just think it's more exciting. I just think the narrative of it, right? Like so few players have hit 700 home runs. And then whoever said it, maybe it was Adam before he lost his words there, but the fact that he's you know, like you said, he seemed washed up 7 years ago. He's been a below offensive player for the past like 6 seasons. And I don't know how he's found this other gear, but he has. And for all of us in our 40s, yes.
Yes.
The reason I believe that Judge's is exciting is for the simple fact that he's going after the American League home run record, which has been 61 for 61 years.
Wow.
So I think we're understating how much, you know, how exciting it's going to be to have him pass that record. And he's healthy. When healthy, I mean, he's impressive, as you stated. I mean, when he can stay healthy.
For what it's worth, I think both are going to happen.
Yeah.
Which one happens first?
Probably Judge.
I don't know, man. Pujols probably going to hit 3 tomorrow. So
yeah, like that's the thing is like the way he's going, it's like it might not even be a wall scraper for him to hit 700. Like he legit may do it this week. Who knows?
He still has a month. So
yeah.
At what point do you start pitching around him? Because as you know, I mean, they're going to start trying to at least pitch around him, especially with, like you said, how Pujols is hitting. Teams are going to start trying to like nitpick where they're.
I hope that those pitchers get booed endlessly. Anyone who's pitching around Pujols, like screw that.
Okay, so here's a good. This is what Scott and I were getting at on Friday when it was they were both 5 off of a major milestone. If you're playing the Yankees, there is a real argument to be made for just putting Aaron Judge on base. Like when the Yankees come to Toronto for 3 games, I don't want to see him even swing a bat one time. Like go down to first 4 times every game. No thanks. We'll let Gleyber Torres try and beat us. 0 swings for Aaron Judge. Any playoff team that's facing the Yankees, we got the Brewers for 3. We got the Jays for 3. We got the Orioles for 3. Then you got the Red Sox for 6 more games against the Yankees. I don't think they want to help Aaron Judge get to 60 home runs. Like, who is he going to hit good pitches off of? I don't think anybody is going to be bending over backwards to give him anything hittable. Whereas Albert Pujols, I mean, to your point there, Garth, are people going to nitpick throwing their pitches to Albert Pujols? I would say if I was a young pitcher, I would be like, I'm going to fucking challenge, excuse my language, I'm going to challenge this guy, right? Like if you are a 26-year-old pitcher and you get a chance to strike out Albert Pujols, like that is a story that you tell for the rest of your life. And if he hits 698 off of you, I don't think you're really going to sweat it. Am I wrong here? I don't think Albert Pujols is going to get soft tossed any easy pitches. I do not think that at all.
If he's at 699 with like 3 games left, someone's gonna throw him a cookie in there.
Yeah, like, someone might get one.
And to the amount of games,
no one's doing that for Judge.
Yeah, and to the amount of not in no world. But to the games point, I looked at the Cardinal schedule. They still have 5 against the Cincinnati Reds and if I'm reading this correctly, 6 against the Pirates.
That might be even more. I was looking like they end their season playing just the Pirates.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 6. Yeah, they finished the season with 6 against the Pirates, and they still have 5 against the Reds and 4 against the Brewers, and then the Dodgers and Padres in there. Those teams are way easier than what Judge has to face. Like Albert could get 6 home runs in that one Pirates stretch alone. Like,
keep in mind, both have to stay healthy. I know we're overlooking it, but they if they get hurt, it doesn't happen.
Well, now you got to knock on wood.
You just put in the air Albert Pujols getting injured at 6.
I just said it's a possibility.
Like, you just did it.
But I think another point about all of that is that, like, oh shit, I just had a really good point. Damn it! What is going on?
You did.
This whole show is...
we take 1 month off, and all of a sudden,
No, okay. No, here's the point I had. Right now, the Yankees, like, for the past couple of weeks, the Yankees have had Judge, and that's it. Pujols has Arenado, has Goldschmidt. Like, he's got some legit dudes hitting behind him. He has protection in that lineup. Judge has. Who's Judge at with DJ LeMahieu? Like,
they've been batting him leadoff lately.
Yeah,
like, it's weird.
Yeah, they're batting him leadoff right now. So, like, I think Pujols is definitely going to do it, but Judge is gonna see some. He's gonna see some, like, not intentional walks, but not intentional walks going down the stretch.
Yeah, no one's gonna challenge him for sure.
Good point on Goldschmidt, too. More people need to talk about him. I mean, my God, has everyone looked at his numbers lately?
Isn't he trying to get the Triple Crown?
325, 35 home runs, and 109 RBIs. Right.
And everyone would be talking about his age if the Cardinals didn't already have, like, 3 over 40 guys. Like,
he's one of the young ones.
He's the young spry guys for sure. All right, let's get into our own topics that we're bringing to the table. Scott, you brought yours to the table. Garth, let's go to you next.
Okay. This week, there have been some crazy performances in MLB. You got, Bo Bichette, got Albert Pujols, got Aaron Judge, Mike Trout.
Yep.
That's my topic. Mike Trout. He just hit home runs in 6 straight games, and
nobody's talking about it.
Nope. Because he's on the
end. But Mike Trout, like a month ago, we were talking about, like, his back injury, like, what's going to happen with Mike Trout. It's like, he's just going to be Mike Trout. That's what's going to happen with Mike Trout. He's still going to be the best hitter of our generation by the looks of things. So
there's a lot of people who can't hit 6 home runs straight with a good back.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I don't think, like, is Mike Trout the most underrated, greatest player of a generation ever? Like, is it because he plays on the West Coast, or, like, I don't know what it is, but, like, everyone knows that Mike Trout's awesome, but you rarely hear people talking about Mike Trout. It's like Shohei this or Aaron.
He does have like a charisma of almost zero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the blandest.
I don't know if he's underrated so much as it is just quietly stated. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, imagine Mike Trout on the Yankees. Like, my God, like, we'd never shut up about him.
ESPN would show him 24/7.
Yeah. But
thank God he's not on the Yankees.
No, but I mean, like, he is just having an unbelievable season that no one is talking about at all.
Yeah. It just goes to show you that the Angels are that bad of a team.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, they're a 60-win team right now with Shohei Ohtani and Mike Trout.
I don't understand that organization. No. Like, I really can't wrap my head around it. Like, it's not like this hasn't been, like, sure, in 2021 they went out and all 40 of their draft picks were pitchers. Like, they're trying to address it, I guess. But, I mean, this is not a new problem. Pitching has been their Achilles heel for a decade. How can this constantly be an oversight? Especially, and they have money. They have money.
They just put it in the wrong players.
Ah,
like the biggest pitcher contract that they've throughout the years, the Angels put money into Josh Hamilton, Albert Pujols, which clearly didn't work. C.J. Wilson, if anybody remembers him from a long time ago. And then most recently,
Justin Upton.
Justin Upton. And then most recently, Anthony Rendon. Like, they're putting it in wrong places. Like, it's just, could be luck, could be you just didn't do your homework, but it's just, the Angels are cursed. They may need to not be called the LA Angels, actually, because they're not even in LA. Just stop calling yourselves the Los Angeles Angels. Maybe that'll work. Like,
stop picking cities.
Yeah, you're Anaheim. Like,
go back to California Angels.
Yeah, just be the California Angels and just move on with it all.
Great idea.
Yeah.
Angels in the outfield.
So, yeah, I didn't really have a topic. I just wanted to, like...
Yeah, fair enough.
No, Mike Trout is the topic. I loved it.
Okay, Connor, what do you got for a topic?
Okay, well, my topic is really, it's a simple question, I guess. If the season, if I'm looking at this correctly, if the season ended today, the Blue Jays would be the third wildcard team. In my opinion, that is the best spot to be in the American League. As far as not aside from the top two teams. So what is your thoughts on that? Because if you're the Blue Jays, you would play the winner of the Central, which we all know is not really good, and then you would play the Yankees, as opposed to playing either the Mariners or Rays, and then playing the Houston Astros if you win that. So what's your thoughts on that?
So you're saying of the spots that the Blue Jays have a shot at,
the best one would
probably
be
the best.
The best as far as getting farthest in the playoffs.
But you are playing on the road the whole time.
They either
playing on the road, yes.
Yeah, basically they either want to win the division or they want to be the third wild card.
I think we put too much vested stock in the records. It's all about who gets hot at the right time. You want to play the team that is not hot at that time. So let's say, Central, they're weak. I mean, obviously the division is one of the weakest. But what if the Indians catch fire and just start winning all the time? You would rather play them than play a Yankees team that's struggling at the time? That would be my counteraction to that argument.
Fair.
Because you look at the Cardinals that one year, they were crap all year, and then they just caught fire in the playoffs. And I know that's a rarity. That does not always happen.
Happened last year.
I mean, it's scary.
I mean, yeah, it did happen last year with the Braves. Like, the Braves were bad for pretty much six months.
I just want to get your guys' opinion to that. You know what I mean? Would you rather face the hot team at that time or just the worst division record?
So I don't know why, but the Guardians and the Astros, I want nothing to do with either of those teams. Their pitching is so good. The way they play the game is so good. Both teams put the ball in play, which is something that the Jays have shown at times can sometimes be a lot for them when the ball is constantly being hit. And I know this sounds crazy because I do hate the Rays. I have all the respect for them. I am very scared of them. But in comparison to the Astros and the Guardians, I would prefer them play the Mariners, the Yankees, the Rays. I would prefer any of those teams.
Yeah,
words that may come back to bite me.
We have not been good against like the Guardians. We the last series we played there, everyone was like, Jays are playing well. We're gonna walk all over them, and they put on a clinic.
Yeah,
their pitching, like starting bullpen, their pitching was, man, they ate us up, and I do not want to face them. So, like, I would much prefer like the White Sox win the division or like whatever. We play Seattle, fine. Half the fans would be Jays fans.
Would you? This was a question that was on the radio the other day. Would you rather be the road team, but get to line up your pitchers? Or would you rather play at home, but because you had to fight to get to that position, you can't line up your pitchers for that series?
Well, right now, I mean, the Jays are playing, 900 baseball on the road over their last 20 games or something like that. So I'd want to line up the pitching if the Jays continue to do what they're doing on the road.
If you're a good team, it shouldn't matter, to be honest.
True.
I mean, if you're a good team, you should be able to win regardless. Like I think Connor made the point, or somebody made the point, pitching staff, if it's good, they're going to bowl through you anyway, regardless of how it's set up.
Yeah.
What if you're worried about how good you are, Rick?
I still got to worry about us making the playoffs, which is highly unlikely. On a side note, one of the things when I was researching Bichette said 16 of his 23 home runs are on the road. So if you're on the road more, that could be beneficial for Bichette.
Yeah, he's been better on the road in general.
So that might play to the Blue Jays.
The Rogers Center hasn't been like, it's not like it was last year, where it just seemed unbeatable in the Rogers Center. This season, we've been okay.
Yeah. I think, I don't know if it still stands, but I think after the Pittsburgh series, I think we have more road wins than home wins this year. Which is
wild.
Ridiculous to say.
We also have more road games so far. So we're 38 and 29 at home. We're 40 and 32 on the road. So we're 8 games above 500 on the road. We are 9 games above 500 at home. So read into that what you will. But yes, technically we have more road victories than home victories.
Yes, but I guess more context.
Wow, when you say it that way, it's like they're the same. It doesn't matter.
I don't know. The way how streaky this team has been, honestly, I just hope we end the season with like a 15-game losing streak. No, 15-game losing streak, because then we know there's a 15-game winning streak coming right behind it. So,
they're also number 3 in the American League in run differential. Nothing. I mean, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, but like all of those runs came against Boston in one game.
You got to beat the teams you got to beat.
We beat Boston a lot.
Yep.
I would say I'm scared of Seattle.
Yeah.
I know Scott said he's not. I would say I am. Less scared of the Yankees than I would have been a month ago. I still would like to see the Blue Jays play in Toronto in that first round. If we can get that first wild card spot, I'd be thrilled. I think winning the division isn't out of reach. It's unlikely. We would definitely need some help and some interesting schedule tricks to go our way, but anything's possible.
Do you consider this to be a successful season simply for making the playoffs, or do they have to get through that first round?
I think they have to go through the first round.
I agree.
Me too. I think a loss in the wild card series is not a win. No.
I was going to talk myself into saying it depends on how you lose, but no.
It's hard because it's recalibrated from where we felt in March. But we do have to, I think,
no one
measure this team's outcome based on where we should have been coming into March. Like the Yankees through the first half of the season felt so untouchable that I think we really let ourselves off the hook, like as a fan base and expectations for this team of like, well, we're never going to win the division and whatever. But like also the way the Yankees have kind of just fallen off the face of the earth. The division was up for grabs after all. I mean, we have to admit that. So,
are the Yankees getting Rizzo and LeMahieu back this week? I thought I read they were both on the 10-day IL.
I know. Rizzo has a headache, so I think he's back already, and I think LeMahieu just got placed on the IL with a foot injury. So,
about a week ago, and it was backdated. I think he's available as of Saturday, but I mean, we'll see if they are whenever it is next few days. But
and then. Which also doesn't help on the Yankees subject. They're getting Harrison Bader finally for the first time soon, who they got out of the Jordan Montgomery trade. I think Zach Britton is doing a rehab assignment for them. And then they also have Luis Severino coming back. So they're getting healthy. So they're probably good.
Chapman, I think, is on the 15th.
Chapman also, I think he just did a rehab. So they're going to get better. Let's just hope it's not too much better.
Agreed.
You mentioned the Montgomery trade. They have Frankie Montas. That didn't work out.
I'm good now.
Yeah.
I'm good now, especially with how much they gave up. I'm good now on that.
We were sure clamoring for a Frankie Montas back in July, but
Montas has another year though, right?
Dodged a bullet there, maybe.
Yeah, I believe they have control over at least another year.
But how many stolen bases does he have? Let me look that up.
Is it $15 million worth?
All right, Rick, floor is yours, my friend.
You can skip me. You kind of did my topic. You kind of answered it, but I was going to say with all the rule changes, if you could change one thing about baseball, what would it be? I mean, to make it either more exciting or to bring more fans, this is a tough one. It may take some time, but what would you change? Whether little, big, what would you change about baseball?
Can I jump in and say I don't know how to achieve this, but the result that I would like is more balls in play.
Yep. That's kind of fine too.
Whether
I
that's
want 4 feet bases. I want bases the size of small islands.
I want laser tag.
You get to with a laser, you're out.
Yeah, exactly. No, like for me, again, balls in play is like where baseball is baseball. I don't care if it results in more runs on the scoreboard or less runs in the scoreboard, but I want to see guys making spectacular catches, throwing from their knees, all these sorts of things that when it's a walk, a strikeout, or a home run, we're robbed of. So that's what I would like to see. Outfield assists. As a kid, I never thought I would have clamored for outfield assists, but there's some pretty spectacular throws these guys are coming up with, and that doesn't happen on a home run. So balls in play. However, we magically change a rule to make that happen.
They have to undeaden the ball to start the season, I guess. I don't know.
Great. Like,
Anybody else? I mean, any little changes or things that you would like to see to improve the game?
I'd love for them to ban everyone with the name Garrett Cole, but that's just me.
Where's Joel at?
Yeah.
Oh god, yeah, Joel Garrett Cole on a field day. I don't know. Like, this is not even what I'm going to say is not really going to answer the question, so I apologize. I would like obviously more marketability. Just get the game out more.
Thinking.
Just get the game out more.
No, that's great.
The closer entrance has become a phenomenon this year.
Oh, it's awesome.
The Edwin Diaz and Timmy Trumpet. You have Jordan Romano, who nobody gets to see unless you're at the stadium, which I still hate. Like, they started doing Ryan Helsley. Like,
home plate lady on Twitter broke character to suggest that the Jays televise Romano's entrance every now and again and build that fan excitement at home.
Add in a little corner box.
Yes.
Yeah, brought to you by Subway or whatever.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Whatever. Here's the Mary Brown's entrance of Jordan Romano.
But I mean, if other teams are doing it, and I don't know if they're advertising during it or not, but the clips I've seen, there's no advertising
in the Mets case. There's none. They do like a whole production where I think one time it was black and white until Edwin Diaz stepped onto the field.
Let me just, I just want to jump in here. We have an update in the Mariners game that we got a comment here from in the chat. But the Atlanta Braves have scored 5 in the top of 9 to take a lead against the Seattle Mariners.
To hear it.
So 7-6 Atlanta Braves over the Mariners in the top of 9 right now. So massive 6 runs in the 8th and 9th inning from the Braves.
Another save, Kenley Jansen.
That would be nice.
Which obviously Mets fans are losing their mind right now.
Oh, they are.
Like, it is wild to me that New York, both teams are in full collapse mode. It is beautiful.
Man, I don't know how much time you guys spend on Yankees or Mets Twitter.
Unfortunately, a lot with Yankees.
Man, it is.
You get sucked in. You can't stay out of it.
Ugly place these days.
I stay away from it, but I swear to God, every other morning, Josh Donaldson is trending on Twitter.
Yeah.
Every other morning.
Yeah, my favorite subset of Yankees Twitter is, here's a great Joey Gallo highlight, and the Yankees fans are mad now. Like, I'm so glad that he's doing so much better. And now it's just the Isaiah Kiner-Falefa hate and the Aaron Hicks hate, because Aaron Hicks got Gallo chants at him after 2 nights ago, which is funny. Like,
hilarious.
Did you see the Hicks air?
Oh,
did you see where he thought it was foul?
Like,
he just let it go.
Yeah, and they scored 2 runs off it, and then I think he lost another ball in the lights later in that same inning. So he had a great day. Yeah,
they had to pull him out of that game.
Oh yeah, like
they pulled him out because the fans were like so on Hicks.
They were about to throw stuff at him like he was a Cleveland Guardian.
On a side note, to close it out, Adam, I want to see you have an entrance next week when you come in. I'm looking for it.
You got it.
Just do hair.
I did
playing the trumpet or the sax, and you coming out to it.
I did see a good tweet from the MLB Twitter account, and it was just like, what would your entrance music be? What would be your closer song? Do you guys have a closer song that you would have if you had one? Garth is already rocking along. Garth, what would yours be?
Oh, yeah. Mine, it's Some Mutts Can't Be Muzzled by Emil and the Sniffers. Just an amazing, it's a banger. Perfect walkout song.
Love it.
You want to see Kimbrels?
Oh, isn't it Frozen? Let It Go?
Let It Go. Yeah. And he's actually been better since they implemented it.
Yeah.
I did see, this isn't a closer song, but Daniel Vogelbach's walk-up song.
Yeah, I was just going to bring that up.
Milkshake. My milkshake brings all the boys to the yard.
Really getting a player's head
Remember
when
when
you hear that
Cadeau
coming
came
in.
up and he was doing the Rick Astley?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Mine would be The Man by The Killers. I don't know if you guys are familiar with
A
that
great song.
I'm not going to sing it, but that's got some real machismo to it, so I think that would be good. Silly but fun.
I think mine personally would be "Hail Mary" by Tupac.
Ooh.
It's a good
Like,
one. That is
it's just ominous that when you just walk in, it'd be great.
Oh man, and is it Batista from the Orioles?
Oh,
who has
an
the
Omar whistle? So
Oh,
cool.
I hate that he's an Oriole and has that. I hate it.
Man,
It's so good.
So good. Like, and it's so specific to that city. It's just
Yeah.
It's perfect.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, the only thing that I could think of is something that would be specific to the Blue Jays in Canada. And the only song I could think of is Out for a Rip.
It'd be some Markells. Be something with the Arkells. Like, just because they're everywhere.
They
O'Brien
already
Adams.
have CFL. Like, they don't need to own every league in Canada.
All right. Thanks for that one, Rick. Jen, floor is yours.
Things got chippy in Baltimore between the
Oh,
Jays
boy.
and the Orioles. And I was watching that thinking how fun this rivalry is going to be as the Orioles continue to get better and just what that might look like. So my question for you folks is, what is your favorite rivalry in sports?
Ooh, can I go first?
Scott,
You
okay.
go first. No, you go first. Yours would be better than mine.
I've been a Flames fan my whole life. I think the Battle of Alberta in Alberta is just magic. I know that they played in the playoffs for the first time in like 31 years here, and even though the wrong team won, it was a fun 5 games.
Hey,
So
did you ever get that tattoo you were supposed to get?
I never said anything about that.
I think it was winner gets to have a mullet for the next 6 months, right? That was the
Gets
bet,
to,
and I,
yeah,
and I
gets
clearly
to, yeah.
won. All right, Battle of Alberta, that's a really good one. Mine would be CFL. Sorry, Rick, if you're not familiar with the Canadian Football League. But the Rough Riders and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers have a really good
the Banjo
rivalry.
Bowl just
The
happened
Banjo
too.
Bowl, yeah. So every Labor Day they play in Saskatchewan for the Labor Day Classic, and then the following weekend they play in Winnipeg for the Banjo Bowl. I think that the origins of that is one of the Blue Bombers referred to Rough Rider fans as banjo picking inbreds. So some good history there.
And they embraced it.
And they embraced it. And I mean, you got to love when a
that's
team
right.
embraces the culture, right? So there you go. Garth, do you have a good one?
I have like my historic one from like years past was the Avalanche Red Wings. When they were both good,
Mhm.
like, man, those teams hated each other. And it wasn't just like a geographic thing, or it was because Claude Lemieux smashed Chris Draper's jaw. And those teams, like, I was in Windsor when they played a game in Detroit, and Darren McCarty beat the shit out of Claude Lemieux and then scored the game-winning goal. Like, Darren McCarty will never, ever have to pay for a meal in Detroit because of that. Like, that rivalry was probably the most intense rivalry for about 5 years that I can remember. Like those teams
That's a good
literally,
one.
like
That's a
those
good
teams
one.
they'd beat the shit out of each other in the parking lot if they could have.
Connor, what do you got?
I think I have 2 mainly. The historic one, it's historic mainly because both teams haven't really been good enough for it to continue to being a rivalry, and I'm hoping it's back now. Toronto and Ottawa in hockey, the Battle of Ontario. I'm hoping that's good again because Ottawa's good again, hopefully, and the Leafs are good. Just get past the first round, please. That'd be great. So I'm hoping that gets back to being a good thing. But I think if I'm going recently, Yankees Red Sox. I always love Yankees Red Sox, even though I'm a Blue Jays fan. Yankees Red. It always brings the best moments. It always brings funny because I like when the Yankees do bad. I'm especially in the playoffs with Garrett Cole going only 2 innings. So yeah, I'm a giant. Actually, scratch it. Anytime the Yankees have a rivalry and they lose, I love it. That's my favorite rivalry in baseball, in sports. Like,
all I picture with the Yankees Boston is Pedro pointing to his head from the dugout. He's just pointing at his head.
And
all
Don
I can remember is when Pedro grabbed Don Zimmer by his head and like threw him on the ground. Like just like threw an
destroyed an old man.
On the ground.
I posted about that on TikTok, and they took it down in a heartbeat.
Really?
Violence.
It caused violence, I guess.
For violence, yeah.
Promoting violence against the elderly.
And then I have one of
Twitter even
Robin
talking
Ventura
about, like,
getting hit about 9 times in the skull, but they left that up.
Yeah.
Sorry, Garth. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
And let's face it, like, I mean, we're Jays focused here, but that Jays-Rangers rivalry, as short-lived as it was, even though it was really only intense for 2 years there, that was a crazy rivalry. And you know how intense it was because the fact that Jays fans still in 2022, 6 years later, boo Roughneck Odor whenever he comes to the plate in Rogers Center says a lot, right? So that was a good
Yankees
in Baltimore.
So odd.
Is he with Baltimore past this season? I don't know what his contract is.
I think he was a 1-year deal.
I think the Baltimore thing kind of started last year, if you guys remember. Remember when Robbie Ray and Brandon
Hyde?
Like,
that
game was pretty ugly.
And then there was also the Manoah. There was also Manoah hitting Michael Franco and got ejected.
Yeah. So this has been brewing for about 2 years now. So it's going to be good.
Yeah.
You want to hear a hot take that I might wind up really eating?
Okay.
Yes.
Everybody get your phones out and record this.
Yeah, I think the Orioles regress next year. I think that they're going to be not. I don't think their record. I think they're still going to be a good team, but I don't think their record's going to be as good as this year.
I think they're going to call up Grayson Rodriguez and Keston Hirstad, and they're going to spend like $50 million in the offseason to get like 2 legit players, and they're going to be good next year.
Carlos Correa to the Orioles.
If you guys haven't seen yet, Julio Rodriguez just hit an inside the Parker and tied the game.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Sorry, I was trying to hold off from interrupting.
No, you're good. I was gonna go look at the game.
He just literally hit it.
I'm gonna let me take a wild guess. Kenley Jansen was pitching.
Yep, that's
of course. Like he was another save.
Is J-Rod the best young player in baseball?
Oh, 100%. If you're talking about marketing, that's the guy you want to market to.
Yeah. Like it's unfortunate.
His interaction with Hendricks in the All-Star game was fantastic.
Yeah.
Just while we're on the topic of the Baltimore Orioles, then, and then Jen, we'll get to your rivalry choice. The Orioles lost 3 out of 4 to the Blue Jays, and then just recently have lost 2 out of 3 to the Red Sox. Is this a broken back situation? Are the Orioles done this year? Or are they gonna Are they gonna find a way to be feisty right until that last series of the year when they're
going to be a pain in the ass?
It doesn't help that they play us 6 more times. I would lean more towards they would be done, but they play us 6 more times. So unless something.
Okay, well, let's look at it this way then. The Orioles have some days off, but they got Washington for 2. And then they've got the Blue Jays for 3 in Toronto. Can we put the nail in the Orioles' coffin in that series?
Yes.
Okay. Jen, what's your choice for rivalry?
I don't know that I have anything specific, but anytime any Toronto team plays any Boston team, right? It just brings out, it just makes it adds that little extra bit of spice to it. That's always, to me, that's always just entertaining.
I still have images of 2013 in my head. And the Leafs, man. Oh, man. Oh, I hate Boston still to this day.
There you go.
You hit a chord, Jen. Yeah.
They've eliminated us like 3 times in the last decade. Like, it's...
Don't worry, Ottawa's going to do that this year. So can we? I will take it. If sidebar, if the Leafs could just get past the first round, I'll shut up for 5 years. At this point, I just need them to get past the first round. Like, and then
Nobody likes the Leafs.
This is very true.
This is a Montreal Canadian centric podcast. Okay.
Hey, Matt Murray for Vezina, I guess. Like.
All right. Let's end on this one here. This is kind of a fun one that came in from our YouTube comment section. So Baseball International had a video about the NPB play some of their games at alternate cities. He was speculating how this would be good for the MLB to do the same. If the Jays were to play 3 home series a season outside of Toronto, where would you want to see them? I don't think we each need to give 3 cities, but I guess we could each give 1.
They've already done 2 last year. We don't need any more for us Toronto fans.
Yeah. Okay, Buffalo and Dunedin don't count. Let's take those out of the running for alternate games. Although I think Buffalo maybe not a bad idea to do that on a regular basis. Scott, let's start with you. What would be your city of choice for like a alternate series?
I think Vancouver would be super cool. And then I thought London, England would be really cool as well. And really, the flight is probably the same, Toronto to London or Toronto to Vancouver. So
yeah, but the flight from Toronto to London is a lot cheaper.
That's right.
Anybody who's flown in Canada knows how expensive that
Seattle
is.
just won on a walk-off by Suarez.
Gosh darn it.
Dead center.
I think we're the third wildcard team again.
If Atlanta could have just not scored 5 in the top of 9, it wouldn't even have felt
why
bad.
give hope, Atlanta?
He barely got it over to 397. Hit it to the left.
All right, my alternate cities would be, I think Calgary would do well with the series.
Yeah.
They don't have the ballpark for it. They'd have to build something, but we got oil money, right, Scott? They could build something.
Pop up a stadium.
Exactly. Yeah, Calgary would be my choice. I think Vancouver was probably my first choice, but you already took it, so I'm going to go with Calgary. Garth, what do you think?
If any of you guys have been there, you know what a like crazy fun town it is. St. John's, Newfoundland.
Oh,
like
yeah.
What I was gonna say.
Because they don't get shit out there. Mm-hmm. They would lose their mind.
That's true.
With 3 MLB games.
That would be so fun.
Oh,
I'd go.
I have family there. I would go.
That would be
the
most fun city to do it. Just simply because they have nothing going on there.
They have
and they never
a minor hockey league team. It's not.
Yeah, but I mean, like, and they sell out those, when they had like farm teams out there for the Leafs and stuff. But yeah, St. John's, Newfoundland. Oh man, that would be a party.
Hasn't the CFL started doing a maritime game?
Yeah, they play in Halifax.
Yeah,
Halifax should have a team.
Yeah, they should have a team. Yeah, they should.
Very cool. Connor, what do you got?
I'm gonna go with the obvious one, Montreal. There's a stadium there. We play like 2 spring training games there. Just give the fans regular season games, which is a good option. And don't give them Tampa Bay for half a season, which would be stupid. But yeah, they're playing in Montreal. Stadium would have to obviously get redone a bit, but you can use Olympic Stadium. Vlad can create more moments like he did in spring training that one year, and it'd be fun. Why not?
Unpopular opinion, I couldn't care less if Montreal got another baseball team.
Oh, this is true.
Okay,
Yes,
I forget Montreal.
I love the Expos.
You sound like a young Anthony Telford, Jen.
I'm giving
the Expos
Jen. That's why I'm giving them 3 games so they can stop.
If they play in Montreal for 3 games, though, I want them to rock like the baby blue Expos uniforms for 3 games.
They would have to.
Man, those
I'm
are.
going to wear my Expos hats when I come.
Love it.
But I agree with Garth, and that was going to be my exact answer. First I was thinking something on the East Coast, and then that was exactly what I came up with. Because I think you'd have all of the East Coast descend. So many East Coasters are Boston fans, so if it could be against Boston, that would actually be pretty cool. So that would be my pick as well.
I like it. Rick, do you have one? Or you can go with an alternate site for Chicago.
Yeah, I mean, I think that they should put baseball teams. Vegas. I mean, get them into Vegas or Nashville. Nashville would be a great area for baseball. But if I'm going like up near, I'd have to agree with Connor and agree with Montreal.
Yeah. Nobody said Ottawa. Connor with his battle of Ontario earlier doesn't want to see games played in Ottawa. Another runner-up that I had thought of was Winnipeg. Winnipeg.
Yeah.
Central Canada.
if you're
Those
going
crazy
west
Manitoba
of
fans.
Toronto, I would rather do somewhere in the prairies than in Vancouver, to be honest.
Look at the fan support that the Riders get in Saskatchewan. Imagine the Jays played there. Man, those people.
Rider fans would drive to Winnipeg for a Blue Jays game.
Yeah.
They're not afraid to drive.
Saskatchewan, it always blows me away how many Blue Jays fans are in Saskatchewan. Like, that province loves the Jays and loves baseball. Every time I go,
sports.
Yeah, they really do. It's a good point. Yeah.
Do you guys like the Winter Classic games? Do you like that they're doing those?
Oh yeah, I love it.
I think they're a little. I think they're a little watered down.
They're getting overblown now because you have teams like you have Tampa and like you had a couple years ago. You had LA and San Jose, the opposite of winter. Why are they playing winter games?
Yeah. I liked it when they had one a season.
Yes, that's where
New Year's Day. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
It's awesome, but when there's like 8 or 9 of them a year now, I just
the novelty's worn off. The gimmick is gone. I think I'm right there with you. One a year was good. It's like Star Wars, right? There was a Star Wars movie every winter for 5 years in a row, and then they realized that was a bad idea. So
yeah.
All right, we're gonna wrap up a bit early here, unless anybody else has any other pressing topics that they really want to get off their chest. Joel never joined us. Joel's busy wrapping up his movie.
He did send some pictures I saw of the set, so I knew he was on set.
Yeah, he's a busy boy. He's gone for good reason, but I'm sure he'll be back next week. All right, Rick, let's start with you then. Where can people find more of you, and what are you working on?
Still doing TikTok, still doing daily stuff on there. I'm going to be branching out, probably trying to do a podcast in the near future, just putting out some feelers.
Beauty.
So we'll see where that goes or if that takes off.
Very cool. Well, if you want a hand with any of the technical side of things, don't ask Scott or I because we don't know what we're doing.
We haven't been on a month, so
yeah, exactly. All right, Jen, where can people find more of you? What are you working on? How's your summer school going?
Summer's over.
Right. Oh yeah, we're back in real.
Unfortunately, actual
season.
First finished 1 week down, 1 week done. So nice. Still not adjusted yet, but just because it is a big shift in even though I worked all summer, I worked from home. So it's just a big shift in mindset. And it's why I've been a little bit quieter on Twitter because, to be quite honest, I've been in bed at 9:30 every night. So I haven't been seeing the end of Jays games. But people can find me at baseball_Jen, and that is Jen with 2 N's.
Wonderful. Thanks again, as always, Jen, keeping that attendance streak intact. So well done there. Garth.
You're here more than the show is on.
Yes. Garth, wanted to just say thanks again for helping us out with our promotions and contributing to our computer fund. Massive supporter of our show, and we're a massive supporter of everything you do.
Thanks, man.
Thank you for everything. And where can people find more of you? I know you got your new YouTube channel up and running, so you want to talk about that?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter. I'm actually on Instagram now. It's just going to be baseball card centric.
Nice.
Pretty much post a card every day and tell a little story about why I collect like that specific card or that specific player. Got the YouTube thing, Wax Facts, where I just make up random dumb facts about players. And I got another project coming next month, but it's kind of a little under wraps right now. But You guys will be the first ones to know about it. So
awesome.
With your baseball card stuff, do you do any like investment recommendations of like which cards are worth investing in? Or
everybody, like I get a lot of messages on Twitter about that. Like, I'm thinking about starting collecting. Like, what should I do? I tell everybody, collect the players you like.
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry about the investment. And you'll never make a bad investment if you buy a card of a player you love.
Mm-hmm.
And don't fall for all the all the refractor, colored, numbered, autograph, blah, blah, blah. There is always a card of your favorite player that's in your budget. And that's it.
That's a great way of looking at it. Yeah. When I was a kid, there was like one rookie card.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It was like
There's
the
like
Wayne Gretzky
500.
rookie card is worth $1,000. And now it's like, well, the purple double refractor jersey edition is worth this much, but don't get the wrong brand of it because then it's worth nothing.
Yeah,
I
no,
remember-
that's what I tell everybody. Don't get caught up in that hype. Just collect the players and teams you love, and like don't worry about the invest. Like there are people who look at it strictly from an investment point, and there are a lot of great tools out there that can help you do that. But man, if your 8-year-old wants to collect baseball cards, just tell them to
Go get a
Yeah.
pack, eh?
There's nothing wrong with a Vladimir Guerrero 3rd-year card. It's still got Vladdy on it. The kid's still gonna love it. That's the most important thing.
I remember
advice.
going with my dad and trying to find the Greg Jeffries rookie card that was highly sought after in the 80s. Late
Did you pay
80s.
$50 for it?
Probably, and it probably didn't pan out either.
It did not pan out.
It did not. I was just trying to make myself feel a little bit better there.
Yeah.
The one baseball card that I would love to get my hands on is the Billy Ripken baseball card.
I won
You had
that. You had him on here before. He was supposed to be on here. The pickle pod, the
In a pick,
IAP
yeah.
pod.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I won that card last week. He did a giveaway, and
When you
It's
get
in
it, you have to show us.
yeah, I know. I'll it should
Amazing.
probably be in this week. So,
Amazing.
Next
That
week
is
on
like
the
the
show, I'll
one
put it
baseball
there.
card that is.
and it's the unedited one. So
Well, of
That's the
course,
one
it's
I
got to
wanted.
be. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I can
Very
never
jealous
find
of you.
it. I'll send it to you.
Very cool. Awesome. For anybody that isn't familiar, I can't say what's so special about it on this episode, but Google Billy Ripken F face. All right. Connor, I know you just launched your new podcast about a month ago. How's that going? What's it called?
It's-
Where can people get you?
All right, well, it's the Flight Deck. It's a podcast about mainly Blue Jays centric. We've actually on Tuesday it'll be 2 months since we started doing the podcast.
Nice.
So it's been a lot of fun. I on the most recent episode of the podcast, I imitating Brian Baker put a trash bag over my head. So like just that's what you're getting into there. But yeah, you can find me specifically on Twitter at TFD_Connor. That's Connor KONNOR. I'm unique in that way. And then you can find the Flight Deck on Spotify, Apple, anywhere you can find your pods at the Flight Deck. Twitter at the Flight Deck _, TikTok Flight Deck Pod. So we'll post videos there. Our most popular clips, ironically, are Bradley Zimmer related. So I guess that works.
Perfect.
but yeah.
I see you on my TikTok all the time. Do you so you have a video component to it? Are you on YouTube as well?
Yes, YouTube at the Flight Deck on YouTube. So it's
Subscribe, everybody.
subscribe. It'd really be appreciated.
There you go. Awesome. Well, we appreciate your time as always. Scott, we'll end with you. I know you got a big comedy album launching next week or the week after.
So in April, I recorded my first album.
I have
It's
the
called
album artwork that I can
Yes.
pull up. So as soon as you say it, I'll share it.
Okay, it's called Staying Together for the Cat, and it is going to be released September 22nd. So I'm doing an album release party here in Calgary. The venue is going to be YYC Junction. I'm a part of the Craft Island Comedy Festival, so anyone who would like to come and support and see the releasing of my album, that would be truly appreciated. And while we're talking the Craft Island Comedy Fest, I figured we'd plug the fact that Adam and I are doing our first live walk-off watch party ever. It's going to be at Big Beaver Brewing in Okotoks, Alberta, just outside Calgary. So if you're in the Calgary area and you're a baseball Blue Jays fan, come and join the podcast on September 25th. We're taking on the Rays.
Very good. We'll just end it there. I just wanted to say one last thing here. I'm seeing from the YouTube comments, we talked about closing entry songs earlier, and Dulcimerist says Closing Time by Semisonic would be hilarious. So
Right on the nose.
there you go.
That's great, yeah.
All right. Thanks, everybody, once again, and hopefully it's not a month until the next episode. So
Yes.
cheers.
The month away would be the playoffs. So
Yeah, right?
There you go. All right. Cheers.